On June 6, 1944, the Allies launched the largest amphibious assault in the history of warfare. This attack is commonly referred to as D-Day or Operation Overlord. This assault included over 156,000 Allied soldiers, whether strewn about the number of beaches included in the assault or through the air. The nature of World War II before D-Day was bleak. The Germans had an ultimate monopoly over Western continental Europe and were having ease just having to deal with the one front in Russia. The Allies knew that they'd have to move quickly and effectively with a large-scale invasion of Western Europe if they wanted to topple Hitler's regime. With this two-front war that would become of this large-scale invasion, the Germans would have too many things to focus on and would thus be crippled by having to worry about defending both sides of their regime. As you can see in the video right now, more than 1,000 British bombers dropped 5,000 tons of bombs on German gun batteries placed at the Normandy assault area. At the same time, 3,000 Allied ships crossed the English Channel in preparation for the invasion of Normandy, or D-Day. By 1943, the United States had culminated enough military victories and had production at a high enough rate in the factories that they could plan for a very large-scale invasion, and they set the date for spring 1944. Hitler was not a dumb man. He knew that the Allied forces were definitely going to strike. It was just a matter of when and where. He put Rommel in charge of fortifying the entire western Atlantic border of Europe to try and counteract any sort of invasion. The bombings you saw earlier in the video weakened many of these fortifications to rubble. The success of Operation Overlord depended heavily on preventing Hitler from learning the date and location of the invasion. If the Germans were to gain advanced knowledge of D-Day, the outcome could be disastrous. Additional divisions and arms could be easily deployed to Normandy in time to stop an Allied assault at the beach. The Allies needed to devise a plan that would keep the Germans in the dark about the invasion preparation. For such an important invasion, the Allies needed a staggering amount of supplies. It included everything needed to outfit, feed, and arm millions of soldiers, sailors, and airmen. There were tanks, jeeps, trucks, warships, warplanes, field artillery, ammunition, rations, and medical supplies. One of the key supply problems was assembling a fleet of landing craft and ships large enough to carry ashore 6 divisions of troops in one day. A variety of amphibious craft were gathered, from giant LSTs to LZVPs to DUKWs, floating 2.5-ton trucks, and specially equipped tanks capable of swimming to shore. The invasion buildup took 2 years to complete. Much of the supplies and equipment, over 5 trillion tons, came with the Americans. By the spring of 1944, Great Britain was transformed into what General Eisenhower described as the greatest operating military base of all time. In the final days before D-Day, the assault troops received all the new uniforms and equipment that the Allies had produced. In total, about 75 pounds of equipment was worn by every soldier that went into D-Day. The contents of this equipment consisted of extra boxes of matches, vomit bags, anti-seasickness pills, life belts, and language guides and currency to use once they dropped. Now the Allies were ready to invade and ready to open up the second front. The original battle plan, as seen by this map, is that the United States would take Omaha and Utah, and the British would take Sword, Gold, and Juno at the northern part of France. On June 6th, before the infantry soldiers stormed the beaches at Normandy, the sky over the English Channel swarmed with transport planes, gliders, bombers, and fighter planes. The bombers targeted German supply lines across northern France and patrolled the coast, watching out for enemy forces. Over 1,000 fighters flew directly over the convoys to protect them from Luftwaffe attack.
And we went into the landing craft. I would say it was around 6:30 in the morning of June the 6th. As the landing craft took off and we got close to the beach, the first and second waves that went in, when the gangplanks were lowered, about 80% of the infantry and engineers that were in the first and second waves, 80% of them were immediately killed. So it didn't leave too many on that beach, you know. And remember, the 29th was going in, the 1st was going in, and all and up and down the beaches, Utah was being invaded. The English were going in their locations and so forth. So without a doubt, it was a busy day.
For those that landed on the beaches at Normandy, it was a living hell. For many years, the Allied casualty figures for D-Day have been estimated at 10,000, including 2,500 dead. Broken down by nationality, the D-Day casualty figures that have been cited for many years are approximately 2,700 British, 946 Canadians, and 6,603 Americans. Recent painstaking research by the U.S. National D-Day Memorial Foundation has achieved a more accurate and much higher figure for the Allied personnel who were killed on D-Day. They have recorded the names of individual Allied personnel killed on June 6th, and so far they have verified 2,500 American D-Day fatalities and 1,914 from the other Allied nations, a total of 4,413 dead. After the reinforcements for the infantry of D-Day came in, the Allies captured the French port of Cherbourg. After that, the Germans began to retreat. August 25th, 1944 came the day the French had been waiting for. Paris had been liberated. January 1945, Germany was defeated in the Battle of Bulge, and Germany retreated because of the Allied resistance and shortage of supplies. In March 1945, U.S. troops crossed the Rhine and German troops retreat more. 1 month later, on the 30th of April, Adolf Hitler commits suicide, and May 7th, 1945, World War II is officially over. Without the surprise invasion of Operation Overlord, the turning point in World War II would not have happened. Russia most likely would have fell and allowed Germans to take over the country. The world would be a different place. Bottom line, D-Day was the most influential and largest attack that has ever taken place in modern warfare.